Welcome again to Davison Orchards, Tom Davison. We just thought, it's almost the end of June and it's time to give you a crop update. And the crops have really been doing amazing. We've had, of course, a very warm May, and we quickly forget that last May and June were actually very cold and wet, and the crops were slow, and we ended up harvesting over 2 weeks later than a normal year. This year, we've got a complete opposite flip. So I'm standing in some of our tomatoes where we have pick your own tomatoes a little later in the season. And if you look, there's all kinds of blossom and some small tomatoes still coming. But if you look deeper into the plant, like the tomatoes are just doing amazing. They're large for this time of year and just look perfect. So we are really excited about our tomato crop. Last year we kept delaying people on pick your own, saying, well, maybe next week, and it was late in August before we really got going. Well, this year, get your canning jars ready, because we're going to be picking tomatoes here much earlier this year, probably 3 weeks earlier than last year. I think, by mid to late July, we're going to have tomatoes in our market. And I'm talking about tomatoes, but it's actually that way for most crops. We have some peppers over here. There's great big peppers forming on them already, and we'll soon be harvesting peppers. We're picking zucchini now out of our fields, and pumpkins. They're starting to really fill in. They've done amazing. So we like to joke that pumpkins are the most fun and least profitable thing you can grow, but they actually are a lot of fun. This time of the year, the vines are growing like crazy. The blossoms are huge, and there's a lot of bloom in the pumpkins already. We've been talking about how well the vegetable crops are doing, and of course we grow everything from onions and squash to tomatoes and peppers and sweet corn. Sweet corn is already kind of chest height and starting to head out. It's just amazing. So the apple crop, though, is actually our main crop of all the things we grow. We grow more apples than anything else, and in our apples, Honeycrisp is number one. So I'm standing in a young block of Honeycrisp, and you can just see, this fruit was only in bloom about 6 weeks ago, and you can see the size of the fruit already. They're just growing extraordinarily. The crop is very consistent. We're anticipating our largest crop of Honeycrisp that we've ever grown, and the quality at this point is fabulous. And you know what? I'm a farmer, so I'm always kind of got one foot in, well, as long as the weather holds. So, we know we can have hailstorms and wind and all kinds of exciting things. Hi, Tom Davison again at Davison Orchards, and here we are already giving you an update to the crop update that we just recorded a couple of days ago. So I think it was Friday that we recorded that, and on Saturday we had a hailstorm. So we already have kind of experienced that damage that comes from the hail, and it has set back some of our apple production for sure. It wasn't over a big area, so we think there's about 15 or 20 acres that was most impacted. Right at our home farm was the worst of it. And hail's quite damaging to the tree fruits, and we're going to show you some shots of what the fruit looks like after the hail has come through. That's just one of the realities of farming. When you do everything you can do, but you have to realize you're not in control of everything. And so now we'll just make the best of what we can. We'll remove the worst of the fruit off the trees now, so that the tree doesn't waste energy on fruit that's heavily damaged. That all has to be done by hand, looking at each apple and taking off the worst of it. And then at harvest time, we'll be able to salvage some of that to make juice out of as well. So you know what, it's farming. We do the best we can with what we've got. And we're quite encouraged that it wasn't over a really big area, and much of our production is not damaged at all. And good news is the you-pick tomatoes are still going to be great. You can see some of the damage in the pumpkin leaves, but you-pick apples, all those things are still a go.